Hello and welcome back to Tooties Productions. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 10 Echo Fighters I think should be added into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Originally, part of this video was shot for my previous video on Tuesday, but because I added in a bunch of stuff to it, I think it got too long a segment for that video, so I've moved it over to today's video, and so that's why the first part of it may seem a little bit different than the rest of it. It's just because it was from a previous video. So at E3, the biggest announcement for Super Smash Bros. Was of course Ridley, but alongside Ridley, we got the inclusion of Princess Daisy as an Echo Fighter. Now, that's basically just Nintendo's official term for clone characters, and they did also include Lucina and Dark Pit as those Echo Fighters. Now, why would they specifically give this a name on the 4th game in the franchise? It could just be because people were annoyed at Dark Pit and Lucina, but I don't really think Sakurai cares about that. So, in my opinion, it's because we're going to be seeing more Echo Fighters. Now, I've gone over the roster and I've come up with a couple characters I think will be Echo Fighters. Let's start off with that. Shadow the Hedgehog for Sonic. I'm pretty sure we're going to see him. We got and Knuckles as an assist trophy, so I feel like Shadow might be joining the battle as an Echo Fighter. Ken Masters, based off of Ryu, also seems pretty likely to me. I know they're practically the same fighting style because they were trained by the same guy, but that's why Ken would make a good Echo Fighter. On Legend of Zelda, I also think it's possible that we'll be seeing Impa joining as an Echo Fighter for Sheik. Again, Impa should have had his place in this. I really would have preferred Hyrule Warriors Impa, and maybe they'll give her some moves based on that, I don't know, but I feel like an Echo Fighter of Sheik as Impa seems pretty likely. Also, this might be too early because, you know, Inklings just got added, but I think the Octolings could potentially be an Echo Fighter. I don't actually think we'll see them because it feels weird for them to put Octolings and Inklings in them, especially because the Octo expansion is brand new, but I could see that happening. So another character I could see being an Echo Fighter pretty easily is Ninten. Now, we already have Lucas and Ness in Super Smash Bros., so having a third version of those characters may be a little extreme, and, you know, Ninten isn't exactly the most recognizable character. Also, he just kind of looks like Ness to begin with, so he'd probably be better off as like a palette swap or a costume for Ness, similarly to like the Builder Mario costume that we've seen in the Nintendo Direct, or something like that. But I could see him getting his own, you know, separate Echo Fighter slot, especially because they changed the Final Smash to include characters from those games, so having in 2 party members from Mother 1 and or Earthbound Beginnings would make sense. Also, because Earthbound Beginnings just came out in North America not too long ago, you know, on the Wii U, so I think it makes sense that we'd be looking to the Wii U era to bring in some new fighters, so I guess Ninten does make quite a bit of sense at this point. Of course, with the release of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch, we now know that every game needs a funky mode, so I think Funky Kong could potentially be a pretty cool Echo Fighter for Donkey Kong. I don't want this one to happen because I already want Dixie Kong and King K. Rool real bad in Smash, but if they add those two and then give us Funky Kong, that's fine, but I don't know. Obviously, he has a surfboard, he could do different things if they wanted him to, but I could see them just making Funky Kong a palette swap or an Echo Fighter of Donkey Kong. Next up, we have Medusa from Kid Icarus Uprising, and I think she'd make a great Palutena Echo Fighter. Now, I don't really know what you could do with Medusa as a character. I've been championing her being a Smash Bros. Character since Smash 4, but you'd have to pretty much make up a moveset for her. I'm sure there are some things you could pull from, but I think just giving her an Echo Fighter slot and giving her Palutena's moveset would make a lot more sense. And then obviously give her a new Final Smash. You know, she could just turn someone to stone or something. I don't know. Bring back her monster form from the original Kid Icarus game. That'd be cool too. But something with that, and I think it'd be a fun character. I think they already have pretty similar looks. You know, they both have a staff weapon. It would just make sense for Medusa to be in here. And hey, if Pit can get his own Echo Fighter, why not Palutena? Then, because he finally needs a shot in Smash, let's add in Chrom. Let's do it. Another Fire Emblem character. We're probably going to get All Marcelica in here as well at some point, but let's throw in Chrom as an Echo Fighter of Ike and just piss everyone off. Obviously, you guys know I really like Chrom. He's one of my favorite characters in Fire Emblem, so I want him in the game. And I think it would probably make more sense to have him be a Marth Echo Fighter, but I don't think they want to do 2 Marth Echo Fighters, and I also don't think they want to do a Roy Echo Fighter, because that's just another version of Marth. So let's make him another version of Ike. Why not? I just want to see this happen I think it'd be funny at this point for another Fire Emblem character to join in here, along with probably a new representative as well, which would probably be Alm or Celica or something like that. But Chrom as an Echo Fighter for Ike, I think it'd be hilarious, and I want people to be mad because there's another Fire Emblem character. Now, these last two are kind of in the same vein. We have Black Shadow as an Echo Fighter of Captain Falcon. I don't really think it's likely we'll ever get a brand new F-Zero character. You know, a lot of people in the comments of my top 10s and stuff have told me that if they were to add someone, Samurai Goro would probably be the one they added in. But we've seen Samurai Goro being a assist trophy, and since we have Echo Fighters, I think it would make more sense to either bring in Black Shadow, maybe even Deathborn, but I don't know. I guess just pick Black Shadow. I guess I don't know. I don't know about F-Zero, but throw in Black Shadow. Give him basically Ganondorf's moveset, or at least his old moveset, because Ganondorf has been decloned a bit. But yeah, Black Shadow makes sense. And lastly, similar to Black Shadow, we have King Hippo for Little Mac. Now, Little Mac could really have the most Echo Fighters, in my opinion, because you could throw in anyone from Punch-Out. But the issue here is, who is recognizable from Punch-Out? You know, obviously Little Mac is, but going into the other fighters, you have your Glass Joes, and you have your Mr. Sandmans, your Mr. Dream, you know, you have Macho Man, Super Macho Man, and you have Mike Tyson. But I don't think any of those are going to happen. Hopefully Mike Tyson for obvious reasons. The others, I just don't think they're that recognizable. Even characters like Glass Joe, I don't feel like the average person knows who they are. And while I'm not entirely sure the average person knows who King Hippo is either, I think at least the, you know, Nintendo fan base knows more who he is. The people who would maybe not know all the Punch-Out characters, but I think King Hippo is one of the more recognizable characters in that franchise. I don't know. I just slow down Little Mac and throw it on King Hippo. I have no idea. I know I had a misconception. I thought King Hippo was like the big bad of that whole franchise. He's not. I didn't know this until fairly recently, but I still think he'd probably be the best inclusion, if anything, just because he was in Captain N. And if we get Simon Belmont, we have Mega Man, Pit. Just put Captain N in. Maybe just make Captain N in the game. Maybe that we should just do that instead. So, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. We'll see you guys next time. Remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Who do you think will be a new Echo Fighter in Super Smash Bros? Do you think there will be more, or do you think these 3 characters are it? Am I crazy? Do you want Echo Fighters? Do you not? What do you think? What do you think of this whole Echo Fighter thing? Personally, I'm a fan, but let's see what the community thinks about this. So guys, see you guys next time. Do all that stuff I already told you to do.